Mafia Mama, here we go again, starring Monica Bellucci, Tony Collette, and Italians playing all kinds of mobsters. Sure, there's a paper-thin plot and various Italian stereotypes, but lots of entertainment in Mafia Mama. Here we go again. Let's get into the review. Mafia Mama was directed by Catherine Hardwicke, who did 13. The subject matter of that movie, boy, really dark, but really good, but also really dark. Lords of Dogtown, Twilight. Thankfully, no If you are a Riff Tracks fan, you are absolutely dying laughing in the comments. If you're not a Riff Tracks fan, go watch the Riff Tracks version of Twilight. And then all the movies. Because really, the only way to watch the Twilight movies is with Riff Tracks. Riff Tracks, we make movies funny. This is not sponsored by Riff Tracks. I just felt like saying that. Red Riding Hood. It had Amanda Seyfried, not sure how to say that. A few other people. A really good setting. And, man, Catherine really tried. God, that movie just was not very good. But she tried. She really tried with that. And also Miss Bala, that I have not gotten a chance to see. But it's about a badass woman that wasn't going to take no shit from anybody. And this features a story, that's written by somebody who, Amanda Thurs, I'm assuming it's Thurs, Sthers. I probably totally butchered that. She's done 15 novels. She clearly knows what she's doing, based on an original story, written by two different people. And really, the plot of this movie, such as it is Kristen, played by Toni Collette, who I have loved since The Sixth Sense. She was great in The Hours. She was great in Hereditary. Her not getting an Oscar for Hereditary, fucking goddamn criminal. And also, Monica Bellucci, who's in this. Pause this. Wasn't this movie great? Seriously, this movie's great. If you haven't, I will ask you to pause it again. And see, I told you this movie is great, as Monica Bellucci working as a Wiccan in a house where she's a lady of the evening, and God, what guy or woman wouldn't just be absolutely captivated to get a goddess like Monica Bellucci? Yes, I love Monica Bellucci, and I've loved her since Brotherhood of the Wolf. She's been great in so many other things. She had that bit part in the Matrix sequels, and I'm like, okay. So, the movie, such as it is, involves Toni Collette, who is a housewife. She's having some issues at home. Husband that isn't all that great to her. Son went off to college. Her work doesn't respect her. Any of her ideas get shot down. While one of the other guys in the work group, or the focus group, or whatever it is, ends up, getting praise because he features models on jet skis. That's a running gag in the movie. And then she gets a phone call from Bianca, played by Monica Bellucci, which Monica would call me, but nevertheless, and I'm going to talk about the Blondie song. But she calls her and says, your grandfather died. You need to come to the funeral in Italy. We'll pay for your flight. Don't worry. We got everything taken care of. And then various spouts of violence happen, because it turns out that her grandfather actually was, in the Mafia. I mean, I know. A man in the Mafia in a movie called Mafia Mama. How goddamn weird. And Toni Collette must try to figure out if she can help run the family business, or how she can do this, being a total fish out of water comedy. And also, she's been really repressed and just wants to get laid. That's a running gag, and she ends up hooking up with the first guy that she meets, a guy named Lorenzo. And then various plot points come out and everything. And the movie has a very paper-thin plot, and there really isn't all that much to it. But it's also a series of entertaining circus pantses, as it were. And while not necessarily a movie that is going to set the world on fire, maybe we go higher than the sun, as Fun once said, it's kind of like Moving On. It just has the right twist where I think Moving On might have been a little bit more consistently funny. But Mafia Mama ends up just being right about up there, because that dealt with the dark subject matter and also had comedic elements. This also does that. There's a lot of violence. There are some shootouts, there's some blood and some dismemberment and some goofiness, and also there is a point where Monica Bellucci wants to get Toni Collette to really dive into it. So she slaps her. Can she slap me like that next? I didn't say that. How dare you accuse me? That was taken out of context. So anyway, but Monica Bellucci being beholden to the family for something will get revealed in the spoilers. And then Toni Collette's Kristen is trying to balance her work life, figuring out how her son's doing in college, trying to just forget that she was actually married because her husband's kind of a goddamn dick, and also trying to make peace with the warring families, the Romanos and her family. And not Ray Romano, he's somewhere in Queens. Ha 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 ha. I tried. I really tried here, but Monica Bellucci's kind of her guiding light. There's also, I wish she would be my guiding light. I will stop gushing about Monica Bellucci one of these days, except I won't. I will not. Because when I saw the trailer for this movie, I thought, okay, we've got Toni Collette, one of my favorite actresses since Sixth Sense, The Hours, Hereditary, all that stuff, and Monica Bellucci. Italy's best export in decades. Sign me the fuck up. That's all I need. And that's all this movie really needed. I mean, sure, if you try to analyze the plot, your head's going to explode and you're going to get angry. If you were Italian, you might not like this movie. It's not offensive. It's not bippity-boppity like that Family Guy skit. And it's not like Captain Lou Albano with the, Super Mario Brothers Super Show thing. But nevertheless, there's there's an endearing quality about it. It's a bit uneven. I don't think it balances the violence and the comedy all that well. All that well all the time. At times it does, and then there are a few particular violent points where Toni Collette's character has a bit of an arc there, and Monica Bellucci just. Jesus. There's this one point where she is describing a certain thing to Toni Collette, and they're drinking wine, and she straddles her, and I'm like, please, it should have been me. It should have been me. Like I'd ever have a chance. I could be a trillionaire, and I'd never have a goddamn chance. But let's just say certain thoughts ran through my head. A little bit. Okay, a lot. A lot of thoughts. And thoughts will run through your head if you have Monica Bellucci straddling you, too. Stop thinking about it. What is wrong with you guys? I run a clean show here. But it ends up being entertaining, and while not necessarily great, ends up being overall a fun time at the movies. It will not end up being wildly successful at the box office. $41 million budget, I would be very surprised if it made it back. It's not a shockingly bad movie. Okay, the plot's a little all over the place and maybe not that great, but anchoring with Toni Collette and Monica Bellucci, yes, I can get down with that. I would like to, but I'll stop gushing about that eventually. Check it out in theaters, or it'll be out on streaming at some point, or in streaming. Maybe it'll be like In Bloom, that Nirvana song. So yeah, getting the spoilers here. Entertaining for the most part. I mean, a lot of the characters really are just background noise. But nevertheless, let's get into spoilers. 3, 2, 1, bippity boppity. That's offensive. Spoilers. Okay, let's get into spoilers right there. So basically, Toni Collette, after her son goes off to college, her work's not going well. She finds out her husband's cheating on her. So she says, you know what? I got this call from Italy. I'll go. She was also doing a jazzercise type thing or a self-defense class or whatever with her friend, played by Sophia. Nomvet, I think it's how her name is said. She actually has been good in a few things, and I mean, I probably screwed up her last name, but she's like saying, well, your husband cheated on you, so let's just do this instead. Eat, pray, love. Eat, pray, fuck. Eat, pray, fuck. There's something kind of funny there, and they're doing their jazzercise boxing stuff. She goes to Italy, and pretty much from the beginning realizes that she is in a whole different world. She goes to her grandfather's funeral after seeing a few sights while changing in the vehicle and not seeing so many of the sights, meets Monica Bellucci. God, who wouldn't love to meet Monica Bellucci? And then there's a shootout because there's a warring family that's trying to get at the casket and shoot some people out because both patriarchs end up dying. And then Toni Collette gets, before this, does meet a guy named Lorenzo that she instantly falls for because he's the first Italian guy that she meets and the first Italian guy that pays attention to her. And he's got an aunt. An aunt that's a bit domineering, but she says, get this woman's phone number or whatever, desperate woman's phone number so we can go. There's Italian subtitles and stuff like that. And then what ends up happening is she's contacting Lorenzo here and there. She has 2 henchmen guys that they're fine. They're fine characters for what they are, but mainly it's about Toni Collette and Monica Bellucci's chemistry. I goddamn wish. Yes, I may have issues a little bit, but nevertheless, what happens is we get a series of violent acts mixed with the comedy. There's a point where the new boss of the Romano family wines and dines her and then tries to drug her, poison her limoncello, but she ends up switching the stuff while he's on a call, not realizing because it's the portion and everything, but not realizing it's poison because she was in the bathroom. And then he dies. Then there's a shootout between the particular guards. So then it's like, oh, she took that out. And then she takes out the most deadly assassin while on a Zoom call meeting. And he tries to basically R her. It's implied, but he can't get the belt off. And then she knocks the gun out of his hand and beats him to death with a shoe. Hitting him in the groin, head. It's great. It's a great violent act. Great. What a way to go. If only Monica Bellucci was doing that. I'm okay. Totally fine. Watch Brotherhood of the Wolf. So anyway, that was a great scene. That was actually pretty good. And that was on a Zoom call where she once again got ignored by her work and she got fired. And she's like, you know what? I'm just going to beat the shit out of these guys. She actually beat the shit out of the guy and then got fired. And it was like, okay, that's it. I'm done. She decides to be part of the mob, but she says, you know what? Let's do this. Let's help people. Because she heard about one of the mobsters. His mother had, medicine that she couldn't necessarily get for cheap. Well, that's something that she was working on as a way to help people. Working on certain pharmaceuticals and certain products that could help people for an affordable price. So that's what they start doing. They get into the winemaking business because that's something, of course, that all Italians do. Bippity boppity. God, that's going to be so offensive if any Italians happen to be watching this. I'm so sorry. I couldn't resist. But they make wine. There's also a cousin character that turns out to actually be a complete nut job that really wants to take over the goddamn thing. But Bianca shouts him down. Scream at me, please, next. I'm okay. Totally fine. Toni Collette also is trying to balance the stuff with this guy, Lorenzo. And then there's peace between the families. And then she decides she wants to go be with Lorenzo. So she's going to leave the family. And then it turns out Lorenzo and his aunt actually are part of the police trying to take down the Mafia. So then they're in court. Sophia's character shows up and decides to be her lawyer. The judge was really attractive. That silver-haired fox. She looked great. Who is that? Who is that judge? I must find out more what she's in and check out some of that, even if I don't think I would understand any of the Italian movies. Let me find out more about that. But anyway, if you know anything else the judge character has been in, please answer us in the comments. But then the cousin is trying to take over the whole deal. And the husband has shown up during this time because the money dried up because he's a piece of shit, because he's a cheater and all that. The son ends up going over there as well, leaving college seemingly for a bit, I guess on vacation. I guess they must have just, decided to do that for whatever reason. And then they're kept hostage. Monica Bellucci got shot. Oh no, Bianca's dead. Oh, it turns out that whole scene where Monica Bellucci was straddling Toni Collette. Oh God, I wish she'd straddle me. I'm done. I'm fine. I'm really done. It turns out she had a prosthetic leg because a vehicle ran into her Vespa when she was 13, and Toni Collette's grandfather ended up helping her out, so she's beholden to the family. And he shot her in the leg, and it was a fake leg. And then we get a shootout, and then the cousin ends up ground up in the wine. And it's entertaining. And then she sends a bottle of wine with the guy's ring finger to the various mobsters of the Romano family that are still they're in jail. And that's it. She decides to become the Mafia mama instead of getting with Lorenzo. Or maybe she gets with Lorenzo eventually. I'm not actually totally sure. They could leave it open for a sequel. It's entertainment. It's not meant to be taken seriously. And if you try to really analyze it too much, you're probably going to have your head explode because it's not great, but it's entertainment. B. Gets a B. It's right on there. We're moving on. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm Charm Ritlin. I'll see you soon.